Welcome to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast, your daily audio summary of the latest news reported in the Ukrainian media. We would really appreciate if you could recommend us to your friends and family as well as share information on social media. This way more people would learn about the podcast and truth about Russia's invasion of Ukraine. My name is Artem, and here is the news. 409 days less the Russian invasion of Ukraine. President Volodymyr Zelenskyy in his evening video address informed that during this week's visit to Poland, Ukraine signed an agreement to purchase 200 Rosomak armored personnel carriers, of which 100 will be delivered now and 100 later. He also reminded that Poland has fulfilled its promises regarding the Leopard 2 tanks. They are already in Ukraine. Polish Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki announced last week that Ukraine will purchase 100 Polish-made Rosomak armored personnel carriers. On April 6, Polish government representative Piotr Müller said that Ukraine had ordered 150 Rosomak personnel carriers. Volodymyr Zelenskyy reminded that this week the Lithuanian parliament Seimas recognized the need to invite Ukraine to become a member of NATO and to do it this year at the summit in Vilnius. The president stressed that only together with Ukraine will the alliance guarantee real protection for Europe against any encroachment on the lives of peoples, on the existing borders and international order based on rules. But it is difficult to imagine stress without Ukraine, said Zelenskyy. He thanked the Lithuanian people and all Lithuanian politicians for understanding the current security situation in Europe. The German media Bild informs that President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelenskyy may visit Aachen, Germany in May, where he will be awarded the Charlemagne Prize, reports European Pravda. The Charlemagne Prize is awarded for a contribution to the unification of Europe. This year Volodymyr Zelenskyy and the Ukrainian people will receive this prize. In the justification of the decision, it is said that Ukrainians protect not only their own country, but also Europe and European values. According to the media, the Charlemagne Award is intended to become a great symbol of friendship between Germany and Ukraine. Chancellor Olaf Scholz will give a commendatory speech at the award ceremony in Aachen. It is planned that Zelenskyy will come in person. It would be his first visit to Germany since the start of the large-scale war. Since the beginning of the invasion, Zelenskyy has visited the US, the UK, France and Poland, but not Germany. Although Germany is now the second largest arms supplier after the US, relations between the governments in Berlin and Kiev are at least complicated, the German publication notes. Zelenskyy's administration accuses the chancellor of indecisiveness and lack of support for a long time. The meeting in Aachen between Scholz and Zelenskyy can open a new chapter of friendship. Ukraine's foreign ministry stated that this year's Good Friday procession in Rome was once again overshadowed by an attempt to equate the victim and the aggressor, reports Ukrainska Pravda. Ministry spokesman Oleg Nikolenko said that during the procession, texts were read out on behalf of a Ukrainian teenager who found refuge in Italy after Mariupol was captured by Russian troops, and a young Russian man whose brother, a soldier, had lost his life and whose father and grandfather are missing in action in Russia's war of conquest against Ukraine. The foreign ministry is disappointed that the Holy See had disregarded the arguments put forward by the Ukrainian side concerning the offensive nature of this kind of gesture. Attempts to equate Ukraine, which is suffering, with Russia, which is causing the suffering, do not contribute to reconciliation. Reconciliation can come only after Ukraine is victorious, all Russian criminals are punished, there is repentance for the suffering caused, and Ukrainians are asked for their forgiveness, stressed Nikolenko. The Vatican decided to combine the testimonies of Ukrainian and Russian teenagers during the procession in the Colosseum on April 7th, even though last year a similar initiative with two women caused an outcry in Ukraine. Head of the Ukrainian Orthodox Church of Moscow Patriarchate, Metropolitan Onufry, confirmed previous media reports that he has Russian passport, but claims that he considers himself citizen of Ukraine and refused Russian, reports NVUA. According to his statement, Onufry received Russian citizenship because when the Soviet Union collapsed, he was registered in a monastery in Russia. He didn't refuse a Russian passport because planned one day to return there. Onufry claims that when the war started, he gave up on this idea. Earlier, Ukrainska Pravda reported that head of the Russian church in Ukraine, Onufriy, and over 20 other high-level clergymen have Russian citizenship. The Highlights from Ukraine podcast is a commercial initiative of just two people, and we need your help to grow. Share information about the podcast, rate us in the app, subscribe to our Patreon. With your support, we are getting better. We call on you to demand from governments of your countries to impose the toughest sanctions possible on Russia and its citizens to stop their invasion of Ukraine.